You credit books as being the lifeblood of your rehabilitation. What would be some of your your sort of favorite books or the staples?
I do get asked this all the time,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've done a full exploration of this on YouTube.
Okay.
In the previous video, I've tried to give young people some of the books that have helped me advance in life, psychologically, personal and financial success. And those books primarily, I would say, are Robert Greene books, like the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
And Mastery,
It's a great
learning to master your own psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say books like classics like How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Mm-hmm.
That was mandatory reading as a stockbroker. It was also mandatory as a stockbroker that we went to watch the Tony Robbins gig. This was back in the 90s. So Dale Carnegie's books, the crowd psychology books that I mentioned, books on influence and psychology, books on networking, business strategy. You know, for people who are aspiring entrepreneurs, there's just so many good, inspirational biographies out there. One of the ones I really love is the guy who founded Apple. Yeah, that's such an amazing story. Yeah. I see Branson's going against the war on drugs right now. I need to read more about Branson.
Mm.
It wasn't just non-fiction though, because prior to getting arrested, all I read was non-fiction. All I read was stock market books, and I've already gave the names of those ones if people are interested in that, especially Stan Weinstein. Last thing I'd read was To Kill a Mockingbird, required reading in high school, out of fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, hey, I know everything. Fiction's frivolous, waste of time. It's going to get in the way of my success. But reading fiction, I realized how little I did know and how much there was to learn. I went on this fantastic journey through literature, reading the classics, French classics like Madame Bovary, the Russian classics, Tolstoy, Chekhov, Dostoevsky, Solzhenitsyn. The Russians became my all-time favorite authors.
Really?
Reading the short stories of Anton Chekhov, whereby two peasants are getting drunk and nothing seems to happen, but you get these goosebumps on your arms and this magical feeling. It's all in the power of his prose.
Mm.
Tolstoy's War and Peace is one of my favorite books, and because not just is it a magnificent storytelling ability and story arc and character development, but also the philosophy in it, and in particular the political philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of life philosophy
Mm-hmm.
and self-help and development, and in particular for people who are going through hardship, the Stoic philosophers.
Mm.
So Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Storm at sea is the chaos of life, but you're like the promontory jutting into the sea. Waves are crashing down on you, but you're maintaining equanimity. Epictetus, we're not disturbed by things, but by the views that we take of them. So people can troll me all day long, but according to Epictetus, they can say the worst things humanly possible, but my brain is a machine that can decide, I'm not going to let that in. I'm going to continue on to have a nice day. I'm not going to engage with the troll energy. And it's hard because people jump in your face and say things and you have an emotional reaction. But you can put a short circuit in your brain to remind yourself what Epictetus said and to walk away. My favorite philosopher was Nietzsche.
Mm-hmm.
Got absolutely obsessed. And he got a bad rap because of the Nazis. Hitler had his books issued to the troops. But Nietzsche wasn't around for Hitler. His sister was married to a prototype Nazi, and she changed some of his stuff a little bit to portray him a little bit differently than he really was. But he, before he went mad, Nietzsche, one last things he did was he grabbed a horse and he was holding onto the horse. He had such compassion for it. live your life like a work of art. If your passion is interviewing people, you put a lot of effort into that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if you just put that much effort into how you live your own life. If you put that same discipline, how much the standard of your living would improve. Even the rappers are quoting Nietzsche now.
Yeah.
What would Nietzsche think if he heard a rapper going, "That what does not kill you makes you stronger"? It's become such a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think of that quote because the therapist told me to think of it when something's stressing me out and I'm having an emotional reaction, as we all do.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up one morning, my internet was down, I was publishing a book, and I could feel my blood pressure rising because I needed to get files sent back and forth to the typesetter. And then I'm going down and checking the internet and restarting the computer and restarting the modem and all this stuff, and I could feel the blood pressure rising. And then remember what the therapist said, take a step back and breathe. And remind yourself about the toughest things you've ever got through in your life.
Wow.
The Nietzschean philosophy. Hey ho, I went 6 years without internet. Why the hell am I stressing myself out over this piddly shit? And that calmed me back down.
Mm-hmm.
So Nietzsche, fantastic. I tried to read all of the different philosophers, but I had difficulty with some, like Kant,
Okay.
Critique of Pure Reason, and Wittgenstein, Sartre,
Mm-hmm.
but Camus, because he wrote novels.
Yeah.
Dark, but I did enjoy reading
Absurdism.
Camus.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's just so many books.
Was it just to cut in there, Shaun? I mean,
Yeah.
what would you say is your own life philosophy?
My life philosophy is the miracle of existence philosophy.
Right.
And this might sound a bit crude, but if you think about the infinite improbability of your own existence, how many sperm were in your father's testicles that one sperm managed to get to that one egg in your mother to create you? But that same reaction happened in your dad's dad and his dad, going back all the way to amphibians and to a single cell organized organism in a primordial soup. If you go back and look at the probability of every single one of those reactions going back to primordial soup, you are the infinite improbability of existence. Any little thing could have happened differently and you wouldn't be here. So if you accept that you are a miracle, then me personally, I accept that I am a miracle. And I wake up most days with a smile on my face, happy to be alive, happy to be breathing, happy to be connecting with all these positive people all around the world right now, happy to be here speaking to you, seeing your smiley face and connecting with you, happy to be having a laugh, a riot with all these podcast guests and all their interesting stories who are coming onto my channel, happy to be eating my cheese on toast breakfast, reading these comments from all these lovely people on YouTube who are supporting what we're doing, and reading some of the stuff from the trolls and the negatives that's just washing off my back because I am the infinite improbability of existence. Trolls and skeptics are not gonna phase that, are they? As Joe Rogan put it on a podcast that I heard the other day, not only are we the infinite improbability of existence, we're on a rock. We're on a comet, on a rock, going through a universe of infinity that's just like gliding around the cosmos. So, as well as us being the infinite probability of existence, there's also just all this out there as well that we can't even comprehend because it's vastly against us. And I studied, within this reading, I studied all the different religions, read all of the original texts, the religious texts, and I was fascinated by how religion and politics has shaped society over the years. Now, as a yogi, I consider myself an observer of politics and religion. I don't engage to the level that most people engage with it. And I think that in religion, some people have got such hard lives that they hope that there's going to be something for them there after they die, and they endure and get on with their work, and maybe they're a slave, or maybe they're in some kind of bad situation, and it helps them get through it. And I saw the positive and I saw the negative. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's good and bad in people, there's good and bad in every system, there's good and bad in religion as well. Mm-hmm. But then going back to my own infinite improbability of existence belief, if you take all of the people off the earth, where is God and religion? Can you answer that?
If you take all people off the earth, where is God and religion?
If all the people had gone off the earth,
as in if you eliminate, if you wipe out humanity,
if we just didn't even exist.
Yes. No, it doesn't exist out with the minds of man.
Yeah. So where is religion and where is God? It's gone. It's gone, isn't it? It's gone.
Yeah.
People get life sentences and they come in, and God and religion gives them something to fall back on, and it can be a good thing. But if you take all the people off the world, it's gone. So within my philosophy of the miracle of existence, I'm not going to tell myself when I die, I've got X to look forward to. I'm going to tell myself, I've got to make the most of every single second I'm alive. And I think that ties in with what Nietzsche said as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You've got an uncanny knack of being able to forecast what I'm about to ask you, which is crazy. I got chills when you were talking about that, genuinely. And to have that sort of macro view of everything puts so much into perspective that when you're in the daily grind, just to reset your frame of reference and be like, actually, I am a cell floating in infinite space.
Well, I was raised as a Catholic.
Okay.
And went to church until I was 10. And then at 10, I told my parents I didn't believe in God and didn't want to go to church anymore. But I'm not knocking religion because I see the good and bad in everything.
Of course.
But then when I read all of the religious texts in prison, and in particular I saw the structure of the Jewish ancient texts, which branched out into the Quran and into the Bible, and how all of the same characters and same stories were in all of these texts. They had different roles in different religions, but it was all the same stories and all the same characters. Mm-hmm. And to think that the human mind has taken that, and people, diabolical people in leadership positions, have used that to make normal people from my background, for example, people from working class and lower level backgrounds and middle class backgrounds, to then just kill each other in the names of these stories. It just blew my mind. And I thought to myself, okay, I had no idea that in the Jewish book they had these stories, and then the Christian texts and the other texts took the stories. I had no idea that had happened, and it blew my mind. So I thought, is there more to this? So I went and read the stories going back to the ancient Egyptians and the Sumerians, now going back thousands of years. Mm-hmm. And guess what happened? The Immaculate Conception, the flood, the resurrection, all these stories predate the Jewish text and predate the Christian text, but they've just got different names for the characters.
Yeah.
So this was some of the most eye-opening stuff for me to ever comprehend, because I was told, Jesus was born on this day and he did all these things. But for thousands of years, people were getting told he did it on this date and he had this name and he did this thing. He did the exact same things.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That reminds me of, I think it's called the Zeitgeist movement.
I've watched them, yeah.
Peter Joseph, I think the guy's name is.
The videos.
Which talks about religions and how it's just, they sort of mirror one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to ask you this question.
Go for it.
What do you think happens to you or your soul when you die?
To Tony's, his philosophy, he said that the Bible was a hormone-releasing remedy for the blues. And he also said that he liked the philosophy of one of the atomists from ancient Greece. That's why I've called to Tony's book The Mafia Philosopher, because he starts out with him, with the Bonanno crime family, and then his mafia crew getting involved with this biker gang in Alaska. But then, as he's reflecting, he's self-read, self-educated, and he just develops his own philosophy, and so it's a blend of these mafia street smarts and ancient Greece. So this atomist, I can't even remember the guy's name, the atomist, but he said, Tony said he likes to think that his atoms just get recycled back.
Yeah.
Into.
I like that philosophy.
Yeah. And, no one can be so vain as to say, this is what happens with the soul. I know this is what happens. Blah, 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 blah. So, as an observer of religion, your answer to your question is really, I guess, when it comes to the soul, I am 90% atheist, 9% agnostic, and 1% thinking that my soul's going to live happily ever after in this paradise. Because believe me, when I was facing 200 years, I was praying to God.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when your life is gone, when you think your life's over, your mind changes and you want everybody on your side.
Yeah.
Even if you're wrong, you want everybody on your side.
But there's something about prayer and a belief in a higher power. I mean, that's very much part of the 12 steps with, all the sort of addiction anonymous groups. There is a huge power in that.
Well, Russell Brand, he's done remarkable from the depths he was at with crack and heroin to go on to be so successful.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most successful people in the world with addiction issues. And he swears by the 12-step program.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's good and bad in everything. Maybe even Scientology. Those guys killed my right-hand guy.
Seriously?
Yeah. Cody Bates was my right-hand guy. He would collect the cash at the peak of everything, and there was one apartment we rented just to put the cash in. He got depressed after we all got arrested, and I'd made him my head bouncer because he was always sober at the raves. So he would, if anyone had drug issues, overdosing, GHB flopping around, he would make sure they were okay, take care of them, take them home, drop them off at hospital if need be. But when he got released, he got depressed and went straight to heroin. His parents sent him to a Scientologist rehab. They contacted someone online, I think, or something, and she put him into the Scientologist rehab. And they put him on an antidepressant with a side effect of suicidal thoughts, and he killed himself. And that's online as well. Some people have Googled that and found it online. Yeah, and I think there was a settlement.
God.
I just watched a doc about the Scientologists.
You mentioned a little bit earlier being a yogi. Tell me a bit about your sort of spiritual practices, whether it be yoga, meditation, anything else.
The things that helped me maintain my sanity in prison were strong family support, a community forming around my blogging with the prisoners I was blogging about, the kindness and support of the people around the world, my workout discipline. I had a workout partner called Ironman martial arts guy. And also the yoga and the meditation, as well as all the reading and the writing. And some of those things have carried forward into my life. The therapist said, the path I'm on of learning to be a better person is something that's never going to end. You'll be doing that for the rest of your life. But through the tools, through the philosophy, the psychology, and yoga and meditation, it will keep me on that positive path to try and develop into becoming a better person. So, yeah, I've got quite a strict practice of physical activity and meditation. And I've got a meditation instructor. He does a guided meditation. I can just sit there and do my own meditation. And I do all of the different types of yoga. I've got various yoga instructors, and I do yin yoga, which you'll just lie down and stretch the connective tissue at the joints in these positions that you hold for long periods of time.
Okay.
And that's the closest I feel to being high, is after doing a yin yoga session.
Yeah.
I come out of the yin yoga just smiling and just like I'm on ecstasy sometimes. Yeah.
The cocktail of chemicals that sort of thing releases probably aren't dissimilar.
Yeah, it's
in
just
your body. Yeah.
illegal drugs are a shortcut to those feelings. But if you do yoga over time, you can start to release those chemicals that induce bliss.